There's a spark in every story, every voice that's finding ground. From the lake up to the sky, hear the strength in every sound. We've been building, we've been dreaming, learning as we go. Every chapter, every season, letting courage show. This is where we rise together, where our stories come alive. Strong and bold in every way, watch the women of Lake Norman shine. This is our time, this is our voice. Welcome women of Lake Norman.
Hello, happy Monday, and welcome to the Lake Norman Woman Podcast. We're back, Katie. We survived the snow.
We're back.
We're back.
We're here.
back.
It's
We're
February.
Here. It's February too.
Where did January go?
I have no idea. That flew by. Oh my gosh.
Everybody says January lasts forever, and I literally feel like it was just Christmas
feel
or
like I
Thanksgiving
blinked. Yes.
or the summer. Like I don't know.
I know. And now I have a 20-year-old. I don't even have a teenager anymore. I know.
I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, I'm not either. She turned 20 last week, and I love her so much, and I'm so excited for her. And
And it's so hard. Like
It's
I don't know
hard.
what's harder for like me experiencing everything with Natalie, but then I also have like our friends,
yeah.
and their kids are like turning 20 or
Yeah.
they got their license or they're out of diapers, and I'm over here like I'm not okay with
Yeah, I
this.
know. I was there. Like I remember you as a baby. So I had a friend who just had it. She's a little bit younger than I am, but she's in her 40s. She just had her first baby.
Oh wow.
And so she's like posting all and I'm all in my feelings because she's like posting all these like, babies don't keep and all those sayings and, like that laundry will get done, the house will get done, but the babies will only be like this small. And I was like, oh, that's so true. And
I posted,
I
a
wish,
picture of Natalie on social media, and it was a throwback. And she's in her little height chair, and we were baking, so she was covered with flour. And I'm like, I miss this stage.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, do you have baby fever? And I'm like, oh,
No,
hell no.
no.
There's no baby fever. But
No.
I miss the little bodies and
I
the
know.
cuddles.
The cuddles, yes. So thankful that my friends are still having babies, that I can get those cuddle times in.
Babies.
No.
No.
Yeah, I'm glad. I have two friends that have had babies recently, and so I can get all those cuddles in and all that snuggly in, and then I can
then give them back.
send them off. I very much appreciate that part of it. But yeah, it's just seasons change and life changes, and we're still in winter, but I feel like once we get into February, I really get that spring fever.
Yeah, I think when we had like that cold winter storm
Right.
freeze, and then we're gonna have this fall spring, then we'll all be like rejuvenated.
Yes.
And actually, before we had that hard cold, we had flowers blooming.
You did.
We had little like sprigs of whatever those flowers are, but we had flowers blooming at the farm, and I'm like, girls, you were gonna be very cold.
You're gonna
They're
be
not
quite
blooming
disappointed.
anymore. But I think we all are. We're at that stage where it's like, okay, come on, sunshine,
Yes.
warmer weather.
Yes.
Let's get outside. Let's get moving and doing.
Yeah.
We're
One of the things
ready.
I want to talk about that we did a few weeks ago, but we haven't had a chance to talk about here, is Ladies Lifestyle Network. You were our speaker,
Yes.
and we did our vision boards for January. But I've heard, obviously, I sit here with you every week. I get to hear you talk all the time. I've heard you present at other things, but having you do that guided meditation, that was so special.
Thank you.
That was
it
really
was
good.
so much fun. Taylor did such an amazing job. The group was so diverse.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because so many of the women, and I will be included in this, is like you go into an event like that, you're excited, you want to get out, you want to meet new people, but then you open that door and it's like, oh gosh, here's a whole bunch of strangers. The squirrels start roaming in my brain. I'm like, what did I do? Why did I sign up? And so many women said that. And then within like 30 minutes, everyone's laughing and
Yes.
sharing stories, and you can feel the warmth and connection in that room.
Yeah. I love when women show up to those events by themselves, because
I think everybody
most people
showed
did. I
up
think
by
a couple people
themselves.
came in with a friend, but for the most part, people showed up by themselves. So they purchased the ticket, and they just very intentionally wanted community and connection. That's what they wanted. Or they wanted to make a vision board, or they wanted a way to gather with other women together in the same space. And so they came there for a reason, and maybe they left accomplishing something they didn't even intend to do that day. And I think that's really cool. A couple of ladies came, they're like, I see you do these events all the time. I never have anybody to go with. And I was like, but you can always come. You're always welcome. So whatever we're doing, whether it's through Ladies Lifestyle Network that we partner with quite often with Taylor, whether it's one of the events we do through the magazine or the radio station, you're always welcome. I just want people to hear that and know that, like, you don't have to have a purpose, or, your purpose
don't have
can
to have
be
a friend.
No, you don't have to have a friend. You don't have to bring a buddy. It can just be like, I want to connect with other people. There'll be somebody else there who has that same intention.
And knowing that we all go through those same emotions. I can show up to networking meetings. I go to events. I can host events. And I'm still going to open the door to the venue and be like, okay, here we go. Like, take that deep breath, get grounded in who I am. Know that I want to be there. I want to hold these conversations. And 90% of us in the room, Mamie and I included, have the same feelings. Yep. So kind of like shaking it off, getting grounded in ourselves, and then being like, okay, I'm Katie. Here we are.
You did a great, my favorite question you asked that day was, what, I think, was it a noun? Like something to describe yourself, or how do you see yourself? What was the question?
Who are you?
Who are you? That was just as easy as that.
Who are you?
Who are you? And I always go with, like, whatever that first, like, gut instinct is my answer, right?
And that's
and
such a
sometimes
great answer.
I'll push it down and be like, no, that's not right. But mine was connector. Like,
And
that's
you
the
popped it
that's
out
the
right
first
away.
thing I thought of when you asked that question. I was like, I'm a connector. That's who I want to be. So whether, like, I try to be intentional in that all the time. I don't always accomplish it, but that's who I want to be, and that's who I see myself as. And so, but asking that question where maybe in any other situation I may not have been able to come up with that answer as quickly, I had it that day. And so to hear other people say encourager or creative, or so when you have those kind of feelings come up in your heart and in your gut, like, lean into those, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's what was so neat about it, was to ask it right off the bat, like, without labels, without expectations, without roles. Who are you? And there were a couple people in the room that could immediately do it. And then had a couple people after that said, oh, the stuff and the labels and the insecurities were rearing their ugly head. But then we grounded.
Yep.
And once you were able to tap back into your body, then more people started being able to identify who they were outside of being a mom or a wife or a business owner or whatever.
I don't think anybody said a mom or a wife.
The lady that did the cookies said homemaker.
Homemaker, yeah. But I think that's different.
That's different to me. That was way
different.
different than mom or wife.
But I do like that nobody, like, that's not their identity, because we talk about a lot on here, like, you are a mom, yes, you are a wife, yes, you are a sister, a daughter, whatever, but that's not the only thing that you are. And for me, as a young mom, I felt like that was my only identity. Like, who I was before was washed away. Who I am now, I'm just mom. Like, I can't be anybody else. And a lot of us in that space kind of lose ourselves. We mentioned in the last episode, like, you don't realize you've lost yourself until it's gone, and you're like, oh gosh, who am I? Yeah. So going back through, I love that exercise. So ladies, if you're there right now and you're listening, just say, like, who are you? And whatever first comes to mind, that's who you are. And so lean into that, and whatever that looks like.
And be aware of what's going on in your body. You know, like, when you say that and you have that stutter, that visceral reaction of like, I don't know who the hell I am.
Yeah.
Or there's a lump in your throat, there's the pit in your stomach. Being able to tap into your body and say, okay, obviously this question I need to sit with. Go outside and be able to sit with yourself, knowing that it's okay to not know who you are. Maybe through a course of trauma or experiences or time, you've become disconnected, and yet you still have the ability to reconnect.
Yeah.
Because you have that, like, and you're at the stage where Katie's gone to college. She's turned 20. There's a different chapter now for you, for her, and yet you're still Katie's mom.
I'm still mom, and I'm always going to be mom, right? But it's a different season for us too. So that's okay, right? Where we say, like, we miss the babies and the cuddles. I wouldn't change this season of my life for anything else. And also, as hard as it is, some of the things I've been through, I wouldn't go back and erase those seasons.
No.
Because it wouldn't have brought me here to where I am today. I wouldn't be the woman that I am today without those hard seasons of life.
And if you think about it, because both you and I have been on similar paths, we would not have the relationships we do with our girls if it wasn't for some of the hurtful or harmful experiences that we went through. So I don't really want to repeat it. Been there, done that.
No, we're not going to repeat it.
That. And knowing that we've still raised two successful, beautiful, compassionate woman and young lady. And I wouldn't take those times of having our kids see us vulnerable or crying or hurting and also have the strength to walk away and create something different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's never too late, you guys. It's never too late to start over and start something new. It's never too late. Whether you're 25, 35, 55, 75, it's never too late to try something new. Yeah. So we are going to have I'm very excited about this episode today, Katie, because I feel like
I might be geeking a little bit.
I can probably just sit back and do nothing, and I'll just let you and Barbara, because we've got Barbara here. Barbara Kohler from the Kohler Group is going to join us today. She is a mental health therapist. So I know you guys are going to have a lot to chat about today, but we are going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and get to know Barbara here on the list.
Looking for deeper self-discovery and emotional growth? Soul to Soul Connection offers supportive space where horses help you understand your inner world in ways traditional talk therapy can't. Our certified professionals guide you through meaningful experiences that foster reflection, healing, and renewed perspective. Best of all, these services are offered at low or no cost for veterans, first responders, and their families. Learn more at healingwithhorseslkn.org and start your journey toward greater well-being today.
Shake things up, Lake Norman. Great design for you is here. We bring luxury interior design to life, specializing in stunning kitchen and bath renovations. From conception to completion, we handle every detail. Every project is unique. Our expertise makes the difference. Visit our downtown Mooresville studio by booking your 100% risk-free appointment today at greatdesignforyou.com. Design beyond your dreams.
Welcome back to the Lake Norman Woman Podcast. I'm very excited about our guest today. Miss Barbara Kohler is here. She is a powerful voice for healing, growth, and transformation. Barbara Kohler is a Christian psychotherapist, ordained minister, and founder of the Kohler Group in Huntersville, as well as Barbara Kohler Seminars, a personal growth platform impacting lives across multiple nations. For nearly 30 years, Barbara has served leaders in business and ministry through counseling, coaching, and transformational intensives, blending clinical expertise, faith, and personal growth into life-changing work. Her mission is simple and profound, helping people experience real change from the inside out. Thank you, Barbara, for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So glad to have you. You're in Lake Norman Woman Magazine. We had you as a guest on Good Morning LKN, and I was like, I've got to, 11 minutes is not enough time. And then I knew you guys would just hit it off really well. So I want to know, though, your journey to become a licensed psychotherapist. Like, what was the reason? Like, was there something one day you're like, okay, this is what I want to do? Or was it kind of a slow, change and decision that you made?
Yeah, it was. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's been great connecting with you. I just started out, it was a slow process, and then things came together the more I did it. And I started out as a consultant. I had a rehab counseling degree, but I started out as a consultant in vocational counseling and just grew into it. I think 34 years ago, I became a Christian, and I think the more I walked with God, the more I realized my identity, who I am in Christ, and what He was calling me to do. And if I look back over the pattern of my life, I've always been helping people heal. That's been my main thing. So even before I knew God, it was like I was always trying to help people not hurt as much and feel better.
Yeah.
It's kind of simple.
So it really is like your passion, like what you did naturally, you were able to take into your profession.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot too with Katie, like with Katie's journey of going from auto racing to, yes, it's been a wild journey for her. Not a straight path in any kind of way. And we talk about that a lot of times, where like most people's career path is never a straight line. It always takes twists and turns along the way. But for Katie, took her passion for horses and turned that into her career too, her business.
Well, it's like you said, you're that same person at your core, helping and healing before the Lord, all the different aspects of it. That's just who you are. And you were just able to then find your voice and find your platform.
Yeah, that's a really cool way of doing it. All right, now you're very educated as well, so let's go through all. I mean, this will be the entire episode if we go through all your degrees. But what was the reason for like the continuing to add on these certifications and certifications?
Yeah, well, I started out in business as a younger person, getting a business degree and then getting a master's in rehab counseling. And I really was just trying to find my purpose, like so many people. And so when I became a Christian, I was just a mess. I was full of my own trauma and stuff. And everybody would say, train in this theory, and this is the thing. So I went through this through several different modalities, and it was a piece of it, but it wasn't the whole thing. And then in the field of Christian counseling, and I love Christian counselors, I love the church, but what I found was many Christian counselors 30 years ago, the typical thing was, here's a book, here's some scripture, let me pray for you and go try harder, and Jesus is going to come through. And I found out that God does when you're a baby Christian, he does the miracle to you, but as you grow, he does the miracle through you. And so, sometimes it's a wonderful process. Sometimes it's horribly liberating. And so I just learned that Christianity, or living with Christ, it's an ongoing personal growth process. It's not like you just one and done. So I became really passionate about having skilled Christian psychotherapy. And for my team that I train at the Kohler group, that we want to give, if we just get people out of pain, we're still not doing our job. We want to help them get on their purpose for life and for them to be all that they can be and to help somebody else. So that's really, it just kind of morphed into that and came out of me. When you ask about like, who am I? I'm a reformer, and I am here to reform what Christian counseling looks like for people, so that it's life to people. And I always tell people, don't feel condemned, feel curious. Don't get condemned, get curious about what's going on in your life. And so I think if people will do that and become open, God will show them all kinds of things.
Well, there is so much stigma around mental health, and then I was raised Catholic, so you go to confession, say your rosary, you're good to go. But there's so much more to that. It's developing that relationship. It's having the conversations with, it's sitting with, being able to understand that it's a process. It's a long journey, a lifelong journey. Just like a relationship in
with
the
a friend,
human form,
yeah.
the relationship takes time and nurturing.
It does. And in our group, we have Catholic, we have Spirit-filled people who pray in tongues, and we have people who don't. And, we have one thing in common, and that's Jesus Christ. But, and so, we can all get along together and focus around that, but also that everybody's in their own journey. And people don't grow through criticism or through you trying to pull them along. They really grow through being open and exploring and finding out, what does God have for me?
Yeah. And there's different ways to, and this is what we've learned with Willow Equine and Soul to Soul, there's different ways to get to healing too. So I do love you have people of like different aspects of, different denominations, as I think it's the right word,
yes.
in the faith too. It's not like you have to be Baptist, you have to be Methodist, you have to be Catholic to come to this counseling center. It's, you have to have a core faith and a core belief, and then we can help you find the way. And then with what Katie does, right? Some people will not heal well in sitting down on a therapist's couch, that
Right.
they're not going to heal that way. So there's all kinds of different ways to find healing. Do you experience that with your patients too?
Yes, and we work with people, even if they aren't people of faith. And so I always make an agreement if somebody comes in, well, I'm not a Christian and I don't want to talk about guys, so that's fine. And sometimes people have a very different belief system. So I just make a bargain with them. I won't ask you to violate your conscience if you don't ask me to violate mine. And then sometimes I'll say, would you like me to pray for you? I don't have to pray for you. But most of the time people want that. They're hungry. What they don't want is condemning prayer or teaching or preaching prayer. They want a loving prayer that where they feel cared about.
Yeah. Well, Barbara, sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say, sometimes on, the mental health journey, whether it's a crisis, usually when it's in crisis, that's when we start to question. You can either fall into that the only way I can get through this is with the Lord walking beside me. Or you can fall into the side of, why did this happen? How did this happen? Why did he let it happen?
Right.
And so as you're on that healing journey, you do want someone to sit with you and not don't preach to me. I am in no headspace to be preached to. But if you share your little nuggets, share that love, share the words that's in your heart, that's what will resonate with and that's what does resonate with everybody, with people.
Yeah, and I think most people, they go through both of those, that whole spectrum of, what did I do wrong? And to God, why did you let this happen to me? And everything in between. And so just it's about meeting the client where they are. It's not about me or my opinions or that kind of thing. So finding out where people are and helping them move forward. How can they move forward? And if they're stuck, what is the internal resistance? And I always tell people, if you're angry, there's a very good reason. Let's find out why, and let's explore it instead of, I think we've gotten kind of used to stuffing feelings or go get some meds or that kind of thing. And I think, if somebody needs meds, I think that's great. Thank God we have pharmacology for what's needed. But sometimes people just need to be emotionally present with themselves and just sit for 5 minutes and figure out, what am I feeling? And where's this coming from?
Yeah. And so you get the opportunity to do that through your intensives, right? A bigger opportunity rather than 45 minutes or 50 minutes on the couch, right?
Right.
You get a bigger chance or a better chance to kind of work through all of those feelings.
Yeah, I developed the intensives. That's another thing that morphed because people needed more time. I do a lot of trauma work. I do some dissociative work, or folks with dissociative disorders and things. That takes time. It's painstaking. And so I would start having double sessions, then triple, because people just needed it. And this was years ago, and about 10 years ago, I started offering 3-day intensives, and I started doing individuals, and then I did a lot of couples work at the time, and then I started doing marriage intensives, and I found that, wow, that was a lot more successful when you get people there for a week, and it is a hard sell. A week off from work for the most part. Sometimes they sneak away to make some calls. But I do an educational piece the first day they come in, about a half a day of their script of how they married this person, because everybody thinks they married the wrong person. And but why they married this person, or how did this happen? Because people usually marry in script, and your script is like the negative play you write about yourself, according to Eric Berne, who is a pretty famous psychiatrist in the 60s. And so people marry in script, and then when those scripts will work along great when you're dating, but when you get married, marriage is a threshold. So when you cross a threshold, the good, the bad, the ugly comes out. And that's where the conflict begins. And people either grow together, and sometimes you have one person who wants to grow and the other person who doesn't. One person, a typical scenario might be somebody, please come to counseling, and the other person won't. And then by the time that other one's walking out the door with a suitcase, okay, I'll go to counseling. By then it's like usually too late.
Too late, yeah.
And so I found that if you get couples there together and you kind of normalize as far as having differences of opinion, having different values, different belief systems, and help them learn how to discuss and argue fairly. Well, you can't really do that till you get to their trauma. So we start together in the intensive, then each person does work, not one person doing all the work. And lots of times it's the women. Women get stuck doing the work of a marriage or carrying the emotional burden. But I found that the guys like the intensives as well, and have found it transformational.
They're longing for the release.
Yeah.
They just need that permission and the invitation, and then to lay down the ego of like, oh wait, like I can dive into this, and it's for the best.
Yes. And my favorite thing to do when I'm working with guys is to help them with their money and their business, because I have an undergrad in business, but we work out our trauma on our money. Food, sex, and money. I mean, those are the three main things where you're going to work out trauma. And so helping people find out why they sabotage themselves in business or why they keep abandoning themselves in a certain way with financially or whatever. That's some of my favorite work to do, and I've seen lots of miracles along the way. So
you can really dig into kind of with these intensive, right? And you can do that through, weekly counseling or, biweekly counseling too, but you just accomplish a lot more in a shorter time.
yeah, that's what happened with me. I was like, this is taking so long. And one of my clients one day said, well, how can we speed this up? And I'll say, well, let's do an intensive.
Yeah.
And so, and I kind of a supernatural thing. I was at a conference, and this was years ago before I had officially started the intensives, but just thinking about it, this is what I need to do. And this man came up to me and he said, the Lord told me to come to this conference. He didn't know anybody there, didn't know any of the speakers, but he said there'd be somebody here that could help me. And we somehow got assigned, or we were at the same dinner table, how the universe sets things up for you. And so that was like my first 3-day intensive, and it went really well. And I did several with him over the years and watched his business grow and stuff. So I just thought, this is so much more efficient than single session psychotherapy. And at our practice, we don't do like talk therapy in the traditional sense that, yes, everybody needs to be heard. You come in and you need to talk to somebody, but we want to help people change. And so we want to go deeper. So all of our therapists are trained in how to get a life script from somebody to find out what are the negative patterns. What do you want to change? And if somebody is coming in and they're working on grief, somebody just died or there's been a divorce or something like that, we don't start with that. First, okay, let's process the crisis that you're going through first, and we'll deal with the other stuff later. But if somebody comes in and they've got the same negative pattern, they've married the same person 3 times, let's find out why.
Break that cycle.
Figure that one out. Yes. I'm sure you see a lot of that, though. Like these people just saying, like, why do I keep falling into the same pit or the same pattern over and over and over? What is it, just through the talking, or are there other modalities that you use to kind of help people work through that?
Yeah, well, first we do a life script. And the one thing that we do is we want to help people get out of pain, but we're also activating what we call the adult ego state. And so it's part of classic psychology that we have 3 different ego states: a parent, adult, and child. And some might say that that's outdated and they use other forms. But what I found was people don't develop emotional resilience unless they develop their ability to think. But you still have to heal the trauma. And most of the trauma is in the unconscious mind. It's in the subconscious and unconscious mind. And so we work with them to help them figure it out and pull it up themselves. We're right there to facilitate, but we're kind of like the interrogator asking questions so that your person gets to the right answer. And then they'll say, will you help me? I'm like, yeah, I will. This is what I think it is.
Yeah.
But it helps them it doesn't help me if I know. It helps them if they know it and get the revelation.
Yeah, they have to come to it themselves.
And true change happens too when the person wants to change, right?
Right.
That's when true change happens, because if you're going through any sort of trauma or you have any sort of pattern, your mom, your sister, your dog can push you to change, and until you truly want to see it. Do you see that transformation in people sometimes, where maybe the spouse brought them in or something, but then you see that transformation happen?
Yeah, a regular pattern is one person in the family comes in for therapy, and as that person changes, then the spouse will usually come in, then they send their kids. So yeah, I always tell people, don't underestimate what the work that you're doing and God is doing, and you don't underestimate how effective that is in your family or how it affects your family, because it really is powerful. I mean, just not repeating you're getting back at the other person or being defensive, but responding in kindness and love and kindness. Even that simple thing, learning to do that, can help a marriage or any relationship.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said at the very beginning too, where a lot of people think about a Christian therapist and they think, oh, they're just going to tell me to pray about it and, try harder, because you said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of Christian counselors get bad raps for that, have a bad reputation because of that. Tell me about, how you guys do that, how you integrate faith into the work that you're doing too.
Yeah. I ask my team, to pray with folks before session if they want. Most people want prayer. I've had couples sit and wait. You forgot to pray for us. I'm going to get the.
We need all the extra help.
Yes.
Exactly. And so we obviously get an intake and do the history and all of that. We ask about their spirituality. Of course, we make sure they know everything's confidential, what they say and everything inside session. And then we just help them explore their journey and help them connect the dots. And we might do that. First of all, we use lots of worksheets, but we're also spiritual. So we're using both parts of the brain, or the right side and left side. And so we want to activate their thinking skills, their critical thinking skills. But also some people, that's not their target or open door. They're not going to, if you try to activate their thinking, they're going to feel cornered. So other people, they activate better with feelings and emotions. So that is one way. We also do personality survey, the Joins Personality Adaptation Questionnaire on every person. I've used it for a long time because I found it just to be the most accurate, and it pairs really well with the type of therapy we do. So I don't do work on anyone, deep inner healing work without knowing their personality adaptations, because you can hurt people, if you don't know. And this is a quick survey that gives me a roadmap, so things I know not to do. So for somebody that, for instance, is a responsible workaholic, that's one of the adaptations.
That might be us.
Guilty.
I love how we both look at each other.
I love the term responsible workaholic, though. I'm going to add that to my resume, Barbara. Actually, that is me.
And well, the thing with adaptations, there's the positive and the negative.
Right.
So the positive is the responsible part. I'm a responsible workaholic too. The negative part is the workaholic part. And when we're in workaholic mode, most of us would rather work than feel. And the way we solve problems is to work harder.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I use that
I can tell you
instrument.
exactly where that came from, too, Barbara. I've dug up that dirt long ago. Another episode. You'll put me on that couch right there. We'll swap places, and we'll do that one another day. Yes. Yes.
But and so if you've got somebody that's really driven, and then they come in with their issue, and I say, well, Katie, did you do this? Did you do that? And then did you do that? And then they're not going to come back, And so that's why it helps. One of my goals is to have really skilled therapists who understand how the personality works, the adaptations, and their own adaptations. So we do our own in-house training several times a year, and they work on their adaptations. They pair up and do their own work. It's training. They do their work in other places, but for training purposes, they learn how to do the interviews, and I monitor and check on them and just train them to do what I do, because it took me a long time and I made lots of mistakes. I told my team I'm going to write a book someday called All My Mistakes.
No. Yeah, I could add a chapter or two to that one too, Barbara. Okay, I'm going to just call myself out right now. I am a responsible workaholic. I'm also a very type A, and I like to get an A when I go to therapy. And I know you don't grade your students, your patients. I know you don't grade them, but I am always I want to be very good at everything I do. And so I've had therapists in the past, they're like, you're trying to get an A in therapy. And she was the first one. Do you see that with your patients sometimes too? Like these high performers maybe want to present a little bit better than maybe how they're doing?
Yeah, and I always tell people, and just remind them, the therapy's for you. It's not for me.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, and then I just ask them to explore, why do you think that is? I think that's one of my favorite questions. Why do you think that is? And then I also like to assure people, because when people have been made to perform for love, I could almost tear up thinking about it, but the first thing I want to do is let them know they don't have to perform.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when you're dealing with folks with severe attachment trauma, they can get offended at the least little thing you say, and you think you're helping them or something. And And sometimes you have to set those boundaries and stand your ground on certain things. And my favorite thing to do is when somebody is offended, when they come back, to just welcome them, forgive, just it's not an issue. Don't you worry about it. And I try to treat that very normal because they've never had it.
Right.
They had to perform for love growing up. And that's how one of the ways that adaptation develops, and to let people know you're accepted. You don't have to perform for me. And I validate their anger. If they're angry about something, I'll validate. And I'm not going to let them sit there and blame me for stuff that's not my fault, but I will. I'm not beyond apologize. I am so sorry. I did not mean for that to land the way it did. Will you forgive me? And now, if your therapist says that 10 times in session, then maybe they need therapy, So
That's like continuing ed.
Yes,
and that extra
yes,
training
yes.
comes through.
right, exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, your therapists also need therapy too, I think sometimes too. No matter what they're going through, yes, they need that outlet to get some of that. Yeah,
It's so important. I think as healers, we know the healers are always the last people to heal themselves or to reach out and ask for help. But that's one of the things that I say with our team at Willow Equine is you have got to have processed through your own stuff and continue to process through your own stuff to be part of our team. Because yes, life happens. There are days where I feel like I'm at the therapist every day. There are days when I can go once a month and just have a check-in. But we have to be leading by example. We're not the experts. We say we're human. So we can tell our clients, we all have therapists. I joke. I said, it takes a team of 5 therapists to keep me straight. One I pay, and then the others just support me every day in our work. But it's that element of we have to be able to process through to see what's coming up for ourselves so we can better help our clients. And notice when we're triggered in sessions or when something's coming up. So that continuing ed piece is so imperative.
It's super important. I got really turned off the first time I ever tried to sit down with a therapist because I grew up Baptist. My dad's a pastor. I think we've talked about this before. Mom was first a school counselor and then a principal. And so like I had all the help around me that I needed. But when I finally went outside, I had a really bad experience because I felt like they were just telling me to pray about it and move on, And so having a different perspective too, do you find like, I tell people sometimes you can interview your therapist too, right?
Oh,
right.
It's
Yes.
an interview process.
Absolutely.
Do you find that maybe people need to find the right person that matches their personality?
Yes. In fact, when I interview people for I do a complimentary consult for the intensives to make sure it's a good fit. Sometimes my referral sources will just send them and they'll say, okay, I want so-and-so to, no, I need to talk to these people first and make sure I'm a good fit for them. And I like to, we have a great practice manager now that she knows our team and stuff. She kind of knows who's the best fit for who. But if she doesn't, then I'll talk with a prospective client, and because I know my team. And we're very much into inner healing and personal growth and stuff. So everybody's working on themselves. And I find that I think with Christian counselors, the reason that could have happened to you is that sometimes people are very shallow. Sometimes people go into the counseling profession as a job. So you either do it as a job or you're calling. Like, this is who I am, and this is what I'm called to do. And so you might have gotten stuck with somebody that was doing it as a job.
I think I did.
Sorry about that.
I think I did. It was quite a few years ago. I've moved past that one, but yes, I was like, this is what this is. No, I'm not doing this.
Well, sadly, that's what happens though, is if you put yourself out there, you have the courage to say, okay, I'm not okay, and I need to ask for help. Then you find a therapist that doesn't relate to you or you can't connect with or is off-putting. Then you're like, well, I'm done.
Right.
Like, I'm not doing this therapy thing. I knew it was, all the excuses you can take where it's like, no, just wait a second. There's a ton of us in the Lake Norman area. Majority of us are phenomenal.
Yeah.
You just have to reach back out and ask the questions, show up and have the conversations because we're not for everybody. And that's where that being able to refer people, be able to say, you know what, this is not the right fit for you, but call Barbara.
Right.
Or whoever in the area, to be able to know and have other fellow therapists that we trust. That's what's so important because we're not the right fit for everybody.
Yeah, and ask somebody.
Yeah.
Ask somebody that's been successful in their therapy journey.
who they saw or who they would
Yeah.
recommend to. And maybe even if who they recommend is not the right fit, they can lead you to the right person for you. It was actually my my doctor who was like, you need to go see a mental health therapist. And I appreciated
doctor
that
said
from
the same
him.
thing.
Yeah, I appreciated that from him because a lot of times, like the mind and body, I mean, you talk about it all the time, the mind, body, and spirit connection, right? They're all connected. And he was like, yeah, you need to go talk to somebody. He was like, I've taken you, you know, physically, I've taken you as far, but you've got a lot of mental blocks too that you're going to need help with.
And I think, like, if you do refer somebody, give them 2 or 3 names so that they can try and look at their. We send the websites, check this person out, and I'll let them know this person I endorse, this person I don't know, but I've heard good
Yes.
things, and just be specific about that because people can go on your word, and then if something goes awry, they're like, ah.
Yeah. There's a lot of great therapists in the area, including the Kohler group and Willow Equine. We love them both. We're going to take a break, Barbara. We're going to come back. Then we're going to ask you our 3 favorite questions, plus our bonus question.
Okay.
And so we'll be right back with more on the Late Norman Woman podcast.
Together I can't take us for you.
Looking for deeper self-discovery and emotional growth? Soul to Soul Connection offers supportive space where horses help you understand your inner world in ways traditional talk therapy can't. Our certified professionals guide you through meaningful experiences that foster reflection, healing, and renewed perspective. Best of all, these services are offered at low or no cost for veterans, first responders, and their families. Learn more at healingwithhorseslkn.org and start your journey toward greater well-being today.
Shake things up, Lake Norman. Great design for you is here. We bring luxury interior design to life, specializing in stunning kitchen and bath renovations. From conception to completion, we handle every detail. Every project is unique. Our expertise makes the difference. Visit our downtown Mooresville studio by booking your 100% risk-free appointment today at greatdesignforyou.com. Design beyond your dreams.
Welcome back to the Late Norman Woman podcast. Barbara, I could sit here with you all day, really.
Yes,
Just so much knowledge and wisdom and experience that you've had. And really, it shows that it is a journey, right? It's a journey to, even when you're in your profession, it's still a journey.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah. You don't just say, okay, this is what I want to do, and now I know it all, and no problems.
That's right. You have to keep growing.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. All right, we're to the part we're going to ask you our 3 favorite questions we ask all of our guests. So you live in Huntersville, right?
Yes.
Okay, so our first question is, what's your favorite thing about Lake Norman?
Well, I love the area. I have felt, and I hate to sound cliche like so many of your other guests, it does feel like home. I feel like things finally clicked for me personally, professionally. I'm part of a great church, and it just, I moved here. People helped me move in, helped me clean my cupboards, and all those things. Yeah. And I have developed friendships that I feel like will last a lifetime.
Yeah, that's great. And the community here is just so special. And yes, we hear it all the time, but I don't mind hearing it over and over, Katie.
I love hearing it because each experience is different. And like what I experience as home and her and yours, we all have our own experience of it, but it is this community, this bubble that we live in. I'm going to keep living in it because it is so special.
I don't want to leave it either. I know it's very hard to even push me outside my bubble of Lake Norman because it really does. It's just that feel. And I think that's how you know you're in the right place. So we talked earlier about when you have that gut instinct. And I remember when I came to look at a condo and, it was like, I can't afford this. This is not going to be the right for myself. And I was, single, and I was like, I'm trying to find a safe place for my daughter and I, but like none of this is possible. But I knew that this felt like home, so I knew something was going to come out. And when I went and saw it, and I was like, I can't afford this. And my agent was like, yes, you can. Here's the numbers. You can afford it. And I was like, this is bigger than what I needed. And she was like, but it's perfect, right? And then I met my husband. He was my neighbor. And all the things that fell into place. So when you said people came to help you clean your cupboards, and
they did
all the things that people do to just show up to be neighborly. I think a lot of us come from a different a lot of us have moved here. Like, very few of us actually grew up here in the area. So we're all looking for community. And I think that's what makes this place special
Well,
too.
we also, because we've all moved, we all know how challenging it is. I swear I'm never moving again. I said that 13 years ago.
Right.
But the challenges, both physically and mentally, of moving, and then you see someone who's like, oh, I'll bring you dinner, or I'll bring you a glass of wine, or a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Like, I'll come clean your cabinet. We all have been in those situations where it's like, I'm not going to ask for help, but I sure will take it if you're going to offer.
Yes.
It would be not very Southern of me if I turned down your help.
That's right. That's right. We're going to stick to that one. Yes, you guys, it's very Southern to accept the help. You say yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
very much. Okay, our next question is, what is one of the best pieces of advice you've received?
Oh, I think that to steward the truth, this is our company motto actually, steward the truth that God gives you, and so he'll give you more. And truth is like anything, it's like money or anything else, time. The more you honor it and steward it and treat it well, the more you'll get. And so that's one of my main, it's my core value as well. So
Yeah, so then you answered our third question too. No, you did just fine, right? You get an A in podcast today. So one of your core values is to steward truth.
yes, yeah, and I talk with my team a lot about forward regression. If you want to move forward, you're going to have to take time to regress back, to listen, to learn, to study, and so that you can move forward. And we're not used to that. I'm here. I want to get to here. I want to get to here, and I don't want to have to do anything else to do that. But forward regression.
Yeah.
I
works.
love that. I hadn't heard that terminology, but it's true. We're so busy pushing, wanting to go. When you say, no, you have to pause and you have to shut up and listen.
Yes.
That's a hard one.
That's how you move forward. And so many people, because of trauma, because of experience, because of just that drive and excitement, they don't want to stop and listen. But you've got to.
You do. You really do have to, because sometimes just being still and being quiet too, you can learn a lot in that.
Yes.
Yeah. So the term, though, not the forward regression, but what was steward truth?
Steward the truth that God gives you. And
What
he'll
do
give
you mean
more.
by that, though, to steward the truth? Because that can feel like kind of up here in the clouds sometimes.
Yeah,
So what does that
ethereal.
mean to you? Yeah.
Okay, and I'm using phrases that I hope folks can remember is we want people to have revelation that leads to application. So if your faith does not do something for you in the natural and the practical, it's not working the way God intended, because he's very practical. And so when God shows you something, then put that to work. If he's showing, well, you need to set boundaries here or there, then you need to start learning that new piece of information he's given to you and start applying it. If you don't, you'll lose that information. It'll just go find somebody else that, I always say truth goes where it's honored.
It'll pass you by.
And if you don't honor truth, don't worry, it'll go find somebody else who will honor it. So we place a high value on truth and seeking truth. King David said, Lord, you want me to have wisdom in my innermost being. And you look through the different translations of the Bible, and he's really talking about truth. You want me to know deep on the inside, to have truth. And so that's what and when the truth really does set you free,
really
when people
does.
have truth about themselves, about the world, about their situation, they feel better and they get better. So
Yeah, I think the truth will set you free. It's so true. It really is true. I mean, it's cliche, but it really is true, because being true to yourself too, and not trying to be anybody else, but showing up fully authentically you is really so freeing. Something I've learned in my 40s, and I'm very, very thankful for that lesson. It took me a while to get there, but I'm very, very thankful for it. All right, Barbara, our bonus question is, what's something you're excited about?
Wow. Well, we're going to keep doing our training. So my team will come up in March and we'll do training. And then we usually have several meals together. So that's fun. We spend two days together, really doing training, but bonding, getting to know each other better, because we have telehealth people. We have folks that are, live outside of Huntersville. So that's always a rich experience. And they came at Christmas time, and I don't know what got into me. Well, somebody said, sing us a Christmas song. So I started playing the piano and singing. They wouldn't leave. They just were like, oh, she sings. It was a wonderful time of fellowship and just getting to know each other better. Because sometimes when you're busy, therapists are the worst at friendships and getting together and connecting because we're busy helping other people, like you were saying, Katie, earlier. And so you have to take time to be emotionally present for yourself, but also other people. Yeah. And every time I do that and take that time and slow down for one of my team, it enriches the relationship, because responsible workaholics, we like to go, go, go.
Yes, we do. I love that.
That value, because like with a team, everybody, you've hired everybody, but everybody has their own pockets, their own clients, their own office. They're doing their own thing, even though everybody is a part of your group. We're the same at Willow Equine. My other therapists know each other. The only common denominator is me, because I work with everybody. So we're super intentional about, okay, well, let's get together for lunch, or we're going to go to this training together. Having that time as a team so we can lean on each other. We can ping pong ideas off of each other, but also we can just laugh.
Yeah.
Because we are all in it together.
Yeah, I do the same. Most of our team works remotely. They're all here in the Lake Norman area, but they work remotely from home. And so being very intentional about getting them together, because I talk to them every day, but they don't all get to talk to each other every day. So it's great to bring them together. And you must be a heck of a singer, Barbara, because they hung around. Because if I started singing, they would be out the door. They'd be out of there.
We wouldn't start singing.
No, I would not.
I think they were just in shock and couldn't move.
I love it. All right, Barbara, if somebody wants to reach out to you or your team, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Yeah, they can go to our website, thekohlergroup.net. Kohler's like the faucets, but no relation.
Okay.
So thekohlergroup.net, or they can call us at 252-758-8636. They can call or text, and that number's on the website too.
Okay. All right. So reach out to Barbara if you're looking for that, the intensive, the counseling, anything that you got going on right now. So they can just reach out to you. So Barbara, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank
this has
you.
been a great
Thank
episode.
you for having me.
Every episode is my favorite episode, but the workaholic though, I'm taking that one with me. It's going on my LinkedIn.
You know that.
Just
I know
remember
that.
the positive
The
part, the
positive part, the
responsible.
responsible workaholic.
You need that T-shirt.
It's going on my LinkedIn profile today. What are you talking about? I love that. I've learned so much from you today, and love having you here. You can also check her out in Lake Norman Woman magazine. She's in the February issue. Available right now. So we will we'll talk to you soon again. Thank you so much, Barbara.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And thank you guys for joining us on the podcast. If you're looking for more resources or anything we've talked about, you can head over to lakenormanwoman.com, see the full issues, and every single article that we put on in the magazine is on our website as well. So we'll be back next week with another great episode of the Lake Norman Woman podcast.
Have a great week.
Together,